Yo, what's up, guys? After running and analyzing hundreds of webinars, I'm going to show you guys exactly how you need to structure a webinar so you can actually make it as good as humanly possible and make as much money as possible. So let's get into this. Step one is really the registration page. So I'm going to show you guys with a couple examples of how you overall want to structure this. So it's pretty straightforward. You typically just want to have some copy calling out specifically who this is for and what you're actually going to be teaching on the webinar. You're going to have typically an About Me section that pretty much just gives some credibility as to who you actually are. And what we found is actually by not putting a VSL in the front, it surprisingly makes the conversion rate higher, right? So this actually isn't a VSL, but when you click it, it pretty much just pops up a form that has to put in their name, email, phone number. And it's kind of interesting because it's like someone will go, they're like, oh, video, let's play it. And then the form pops up and it's like, oh, well, the fucking form is right there. All right, I'll just put in my information, right? It's kind of cheeky, but that's typically what the registration page can look like. There's a bit more nuance, but high level, this one has performed very well. From there, you can see, again, no VSL. Standard conversion event, complete registration. What is that? Pretty much when you're running ads on Meta, you're going to tell Meta to optimize for a specific conversion event. And complete registration, pretty much what that means is anytime you have a form on a website, someone goes through and fills that out, Meta will track that, right? So for example, here they click this button, the opt-in form comes up, they fill that in, they see the VIP upsell page, they pretty much opt in your webinar. Meta can keep track of the types of people that are going in and signing up for the webinar, and it will optimize for more of those people. So essentially, you're going to be optimizing for complete registration. And if you have lead quality issues, what you can actually do is optimize for people who are buying your VIP upsell. So if we really get into the VIP upsell, okay, obviously, first of all, with the form, you just want to capture name, email, phone number. But with the VIP upsell, good for a couple reasons. Because again, if you're having lead quality issues, you can actually just optimize for the people who buy the VIP upsell, and typically the people buying that are way more serious. And what we found is that out of all the people that end up buying your high ticket product on the back end of it, of the webinar, 40% of those people end up being people who have bought a VIP upsell. So by actually implementing a VIP upsell, you're giving them the opportunity to pretty much get way more bought in the webinar. You're going to be liquidating more money on the front end. You're going to see how serious people are about this, and you are increasing the chances that people turn into a buyer. So there's really no downside of just including that, because as you can see here, it's a VIP upsell page. There's a video explaining it, giving them exactly what they'll get for it. It's just $67. And if they say no, then they can still just go to the regular webinar thank you page. So that's pretty much everything in terms of the VIP upsell. You can also, one other small thing is just have an optional survey. So after they complete the opt-in, you can essentially have a qualification type form, and based on the questions they answer, you can either send them to, for example, a 97 VIP upsell, $27 one, or just send them to the registration page. And now you have way more context. The sales team has more context as well. So it's kind of a cheeky little way to actually start seeing who's going to be showing up for the webinar, see if the quality of the leads is actually good. So on the thank you page, there are going to be a couple of things, right? Obviously, the confirmation video, this is just building urgency for the webinar, telling them why they should show up, doing due diligence, answering any frequently asked questions they might have. Also, just including here as well, you can see like more testimonials, so people will get way less skeptical, way more bought in actually showing up to the webinar itself. You can also show them how to actually add it to their calendar, make sure you have the date and time for the webinar itself, so that's extremely clear on the page. On top of that, we go into community groups, right? So there are a couple of different ways you can actually have this set up. I can show this on Ariel Pryor's funnel here. You can see this is after people opt in, they see the registration page. There's an option to join a community. What is this? It can be a WhatsApp chat, Telegram, Discord, Facebook group. I think for her specifically Facebook group. And you can pretty much get people to actually join this community beforehand, and you can just keep firing value in there. It's going to get them more excited for the webinar. They're going to be actually surrounded by other people who are there as well. So it's going to increase the chance they show. Again, just increase the chance they actually buy something on the back end of this. So we've noticed implementing the community groups, it does increase the show rate, and it just increases the overall energy on the webinar. People are just way more excited to actually be there. We already talked about the FAQ videos. You can also just add a link to your YouTube channel as well, just to nurture them a bit more. Because if anyone clicks it and you actually have a good YouTube channel, then it is wraps. They're going to be way more bought in for the webinar. So all this stuff so far is really just to make sure that people understand when the webinar is, why they should show up to it, and just get them super bought in to actually show up. Essentially, that's really what you want to focus on there in terms of a pre-webinar sequence. So now they've already opted in, they've seen the thank you page, right? So if you're building up a webinar from the ground up, You start off with the registration page. You have the thank you page. You're starting to build out the funnel. Now, after they've opted in, cool. We need an actual pre-webinar sequence because you don't just want to have them fill out the thank you page and then just disappear, right? So pretty much email sequences, you can send 2 to 3 value dense emails every single day, and then an SMS sequence as well. This could just be essentially open-ended questions like, hey, what do you want to see on the webinar? You can maybe send one after they initially book in, send one the day after, and then let's say the day of, you can just send a few reminder texts for them to actually show up to the webinar. Hammer them ads. These could actually be useful, especially if a VIP, right? So pretty much someone opts in to your webinar. They haven't gotten VIP. You can just hammer them with content that's going to not only get them more bought into the webinar, but actually get them to buy the upsell. Because if they were on the fence about it and they're getting hammered with content on why they should actually buy the VIP upsell, they're going to be a lot more likely to buy it, right? Even just stuff that's like, yo, this is why you should show up to the webinar. This we're going to cover. They're just going to be constantly seeing you before the webinar, which is going to increase your show rate, increase the overall close rate on the back end of that. So you want to make sure you're definitely utilizing hammer them ads. And with the non-VIP registrants, you don't necessarily need to you can use the hammer them ads to get them to buy VIP, obviously, but you don't want to be like ripping them with like emails and SMSs on why they should buy VIP, because then they're just going to feel like there's just something to get me to sign up for VIP. You can send them maybe one email, one text about VIP, and the rest of it can just be, they can see it from the hammer them ads, and if they don't buy it, they don't buy it. No worries there. Now on the webinar itself, especially if this is a cold webinar, just start. Don't wait like a few minutes, be like, oh, we're going to wait for people to go in. Just start. People will join, and you'll just keep it flowing. Because if the more you wait at the start, people are just going to get pissed. They're going to drop off. In the first 5 minutes as well, you definitely want to explain who you are, the credibility, and like the actual problem you're there to address. But don't spend too long on who you actually are, because again, it's like they don't care that much about who you are. Let's be honest. So you want to like sprinkle it in there, sprinkle in yourself. Make sure you still show a ton of credibility in terms of testimonials or your results, but just kind of sprinkle in stuff about you. Because if you just start off with like a 5-minute monologue of who you are, you're going to notice their attention dropping, right? You mainly want to focus on the problem and what you guys are actually going to talk about to solve it. And throughout the webinar, you really want to be selling them on 3 things. Sell them on themselves, the mechanism itself, so like the vehicle, so for example, Section 8 or digital products or whatever it is you're actually selling, as well as you, right? Why they should actually learn it from you. And typically you want to be pitching at around 45 to 50 minutes. It's a 15-minute pitch. You can just have a value stack of everything they get, and then you pretty much just, you can do it when you price drop, you can just give a range. Like, yeah, obviously to get this level of support, to get to the point where you're like, making this amount of money, there's an investment that goes into that. It could typically range anywhere from 3 to 8K. That's not something you have at the moment. Don't worry. There are tons of ways to break that down, because we don't want money to be the thing that stops you from actually making more money, right? So you can just pitch, explain what they get, price drop, and you can do a Q&A as well. And a lot of the calls that you get are going to come from the Q&A, right? Once they get that certainty and conviction and trust in the offer owner just sitting there and answer their questions, a lot of their calls are actually going to come from running the Q&A. The last aspect of this is just the overall strategy that you use to promote this. So again, if you're using paid, right, you can use a lifetime budget in the ads manager, promote it for 4 to 5 days. You're going to do a lifetime budget because you want Meta to spend more money as it gets closer to the webinar, because if it's a day or 2 out, you want more and more people opting in compared to if it's like 4 to 5 days out. Also, Meta is going to be learning. It's going to be learning who's signing up for the webinar, and as it learns, you just want it to spend more money as it gets better. So lifetime budget, 4 to 5 day window. You can run CBO, so campaign budget optimization. Just make it broad, and then you can also do one that's a 1% lookalike. So you're going to take all the people that you have who in the past have bought your program, they've paid in full. You're going to take that, put it in the ads manager, and you're going to look for the top 1% of people that match that as closely as possible. So you're pretty much having Meta look for buyers. You can have 2 different ad sets, just a broad one, and then one that's based on the people that have paid in full in the past. From there, in terms of creative volume, if you're spending under 8K, you can just have 10 to 15 creatives and scale up as you spend more money on the webinar. And in terms of organic promotion, if it's just warm, just make reels about it, put it in your bio, make story sequences about it. And a good typical cadence for this, you can do 1 warm, 3 cold per month. You don't want to be running too many warm webinars, because it's just going to cannibalize your audience. They're essentially just going to be like, oh, I don't need to show up to this one because you're just going to do it again next week and the week after and the week after. So actually make it scarce. actually make it something that it's not going to happen that often for the people that are warm. That also reminds me as well, when you run the cold campaigns, you want to actually exclude your warm audience. So exclude any of your followers or anyone who's seen your content in the past 30 to 90 days. You want to go completely cold. People who don't know who you are, because if you don't do that, then Meta is going to show it to the people who actually follow you, and they're going to be much more likely to convert because they actually know, like, and trust you, which is going to drive down the cost of that conversion event. So Meta's going to look for more of your organic audience to bring to the webinar, but that's just gonna lead to the same issue where you cannibalize it because you want these people to be cold. You only want to market to the organic for that one webinar a month. You don't want to be marketing that same organic audience every single week on accident. In terms of the very front end of this, it really does just come down to the actual funnel itself. So first of all, the ads, making sure the ads are good, making sure the landing page is good, having the VIP upsell, the registration page, the thank you page, the right sequences beforehand in terms of email, SMS, hammer them ads, and then the actual running the webinar properly so that you can maximize retention and have as many people stay to the end. There's still stuff you can do after the webinar to maximize the chances that people buy. So for example, an encore the next day, you can have a replay funnel, tons of stuff you can do after the webinar. If you want help implementing any of this, book a call in the link below, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.